It's been another really busy month for me as I try and get ready for my summer vacation, but man, did I play some great games. Each of these is absolutely worth playing. Here's everything I platinumed in June. Crispy Critters. Atomic Heart was another game that I totally missed out on back when it released in 2023. Apparently the game was criticized by numerous gaming news agencies because its studio possibly had direct ties to Russian interests, with its revenue made from the game possibly going towards helping fund the Ukraine war. Damn, apparently it was complicated. I won't make any socio-political statements here, but the game's developer Munfish, let's just say, they were really put through the ringer. Anyway, I caught some YouTube video at some point where they showed a few seconds of the introduction sequence, and specifically this particular scene caught my attention, and I immediately had to seek out the game. Well, I can't say I was disappointed. Atomic Heart is really cool, but it does have some issues as well. It's not a perfect game. Its themes and even its look really reminded me of BioShock in many ways, and once you get into the open world sections of the game, it really started to remind me of games like Dying Light and Fallout. Now, I really like each and every one of those games, but mashing them together in the way Atomic Heart does doesn't always work, and I'd even argue that the overall game might suffer a little bit because of it, but more on that later. The story is a bit complicated, and I didn't really understand every aspect of it because, so much exposition is delivered while you're shooting androids and trying to stay alive while being shot out from every direction. The game can get really hectic at times, and sometimes it just feels like you can't even catch your breath. But okay, story. Here it goes. At some point during the 1930s, a scientist develops this weird jello-type stuff called polymer, which leads to massive breakthroughs in the field of robotics. This completely shifts Russia's economy, and through the use of its robotics, places Russia at the top of the food chain in numerous different industries. Soon enough, this very same scientist, Dr. Sechenov, creates a wireless AI network called Collective. The aim of Collective is to link all robots to one network, and through Collective, makes it easier for all robots to work as one, kind of like a giant hive mind. Dr. Sechenov also develops Thought, a neural connector that attaches to a human's temple and integrates polymer into their body, enabling direct interaction and control with other robots. Everything is set to launch with Collective 2.0, but as we'll soon see, not everyone is keen to see it succeed. This is where we come in. We are Major Sergei Neshayev, also known as P3, working directly for Sechenov, who has saved us from a life-threatening injury a few years back and has now given us a second chance at life through medical science. But it also seems that we're dealing with memory problems. As we make our way to Facility 3826, we get one hell of an introduction. Holy shit, look at this parade, it's a total demonstration of power. And just like the opening of BioShock, we get treated to a bird's eye view of the entire place. And what's really cool is that throughout the course of the game, we will indeed visit most, if not all, of these locations we see here. Anyway, Collective 2.0 goes online, and immediately all hell breaks loose as the robots go rogue, killing all humans on sight. Under Sechenov's orders, it's now up to you to find out exactly what happened as you venture deeper and deeper into the different facilities around and see just how far some twisted minds will go in order to gain and hold on to total power.
Installing the head.
227991000. Oh.
Hey, rise and shine. Good morning to you.
Сегодня праздник у девчат.
Another thing to note is the game's soundtrack. It is excellent. The game is filled with actual native Russian songs from the olden days. Famous singers like Alla Pugacheva, Igor Sklad, Vladimir Kuzmin, and even Maria Pakhamenka are all prominently heard during the entirety of the game. Many songs are remixed to give them all a fresh breath of life, but the developers really aim to capture the nostalgia of Russian musical culture. I played a few songs for my buddy who's from Russia, and his reaction was, "Why are you listening to stuff that my mom would listen to?" If that's not a stamp of approval at the legitimacy of the game's setting, I don't know what is. And in that phenomenal introduction of the game where you're getting that bird's eye view of the entire map as I mentioned before, the song they chose is Roixop's The Fear. That's incredible! I don't even give a shit if I get a YouTube copyright strike. This song is off their 2010 album Senior, and it just fits so perfectly here. And again, this is Roixop. They never get their music licensed in anything, at least not in the last 20 years. And that's a real shame because they are so good at creating moody atmospheres. I totally lost it when I heard this one pop on. What a great surprise. Now, for all the things I did like, there are a few things that I didn't like. First of all, level collision. Look, the amount of times I got physically stuck in some places was pretty annoying. The level collision can sometimes act a bit weird, and it can get downright infuriating when you're cornered by enemies and you simply can't free yourself from the environment. Why am I stuck here? I also think the open worldness of the game is probably its weakest aspect. It's really cool that the developers gave us access to go anywhere we want, and I definitely walked around and got lost within the environments during my time with the game. But the coolest parts of the game are within the facilities themselves. Seeing the remnants of the laboratories, the office spaces, the museums, wow, what a great experience. But once you venture outside, everything just kinda looks the same. It's also pretty annoying that these robots, once you've destroyed them, can get repaired by these flying bots that fly around. It makes combat feel totally useless, and you just don't want to waste your bullets. And God help you if you're trying to hack into a locked door while also trying to keep enemies at bay. Some of these puzzle doors take several seconds to figure out, and sometimes you just find yourself in this impossible looped situation where enemies just keep respawning while you're trying to figure out this damn puzzle door. Now the trophy list, well, it's not that difficult at all. The game was full of missables at launch, but they later added an option for free roam after finishing the story for anyone who may have missed anything. That said, you can't go back into any of the facilities. So if you missed any of the collectibles within them, tough luck. It's probably best to use a guide so that you don't miss anything while playing through the game. There's also a weird brief limbo level where you need to collect 100 apples. And while it's not difficult to spot them, just make sure that you get them all before leaving this area, because once you leave, you cannot return to it. You'll also need to complete all the testing ground levels in order to get all the secret loot. These are like puzzle levels that require you to get through numerous gauntlets. You'll often need to hit switches to rotate rooms and platforms around. They're actually pretty fun. I really enjoyed this part of the game, and they offer a break from the game's open world action. And lastly, there's also a difficulty-related trophy where you need to beat the game on the hardest difficulty, but this can be exploited by switching the difficulty setting during the last boss fight. All in all, Atomic Heart was a really cool game with a few minor issues, but this one is really worth picking up. I recommend it. Rogueflight immediately captures your attention. At least, it did mine. It's a really stylish looking aerial shooter, very reminiscent of games like Star Fox or even Afterburner. Soaked in an anime style, the game has you flying and dogfighting through around 10 levels, which culminates at the end with a giant boss confrontation. It's a really short game with a platinum time of around 4 to 5 hours, but I gotta say, I had quite a bit of fun with this one. It's not too hard at all, it's easy to pick up and play, and it really shines with its striking visuals. It looks just like you're playing through an anime cartoon. Cutscenes are very well animated, the voiceover work is great, the music really slaps, and the gameplay feels good. There's a healthy mix of weapons, and even this wingtail mechanic, which allows you to pull the ship into a sideways maneuver that then creates this shockwave effect that you can direct at enemies. It's perfect to use when you feel overwhelmed, and man, does it look cool.
It's been 3 years since the world burned.
Story-wise, it's pretty bare bones. In the not-too-distant future, a sentient defense AI named Argus has gone rogue and in 72 hours has completely destroyed Earth. Finding refuge underground, the remaining human survivors find a hidden prototype starfighter called the Arrow within a secret facility. The only problem? No one knows how to fly. No one, that is, except you. With the guidance of Griffin, an ex-commander of the Solar Defense Force, and Mason, I forget what she does, you're tasked with taking down Argus and saving humanity, or what's left of it anyway.
Orbital window achieved. I'm breaking atmo.
Good work. The scope's clear. Take a breather while you can.
You're not out of the woods yet. You've got to clear the Badlands before you can engage the sublight drive.
One thing I really enjoyed was that all of the radio chatter between yourself, Griffin, and Mason is actually voice acted. So it really adds to the whole immersion. That's kind of crazy for a game like this. They didn't have to do that, but they did. And to top it all off, you can even set the audio to Japanese to get the full anime experience.
大なデブリには注意して。
ゴミが多いおかげでマルコスの追跡網にもかからずに済むだろう。
いい方に解釈すればね。
The game's trophy list is really quite simple. You'll need to play through the game a few times, completing every single path. There are 3 in total, and doing that should get you the majority of the trophies. You'll also need to complete the game again in New Game Plus without dying, but it's really not that difficult at all, especially if you change the difficulty setting to easy. Just make sure not to skip the credits sequence at the very end, or you'll lock yourself out of the flawless trophy and you'll have to do it all over again. And finally, you'll also need to beat the game in roguelike mode. In this mode, there are more enemies, they hit harder, you get a randomized loadout, and you only get 1 life. Again, it's not too difficult, but it will demand a bit more focus, and the trophy can be a bit buggy. Just make sure you play and complete this mode in 1 session. Don't exit out of the game, don't put your console on rest mode, and this one should take you about 30 minutes or so to do. Rogueflight is a really good palate cleanser if you're looking for something short and easy. It doesn't overstay its welcome, and the gameplay is actually quite fun. Give it a try, I'm sure you'll like it. You know that feeling you get when you finish a game, the credits are rolling, and you just get this overwhelming emotion of disappointment because, you know, now it's all over? 007 First Light did that to me. IO Interactive made a really, really good game here, taking everything that was great about Hitman and then porting it over to 007. It's a fun and refreshing way to rejuvenate the franchise. That said, it's not without its faults. The game often feels repetitive, the thrilling set pieces feel overly scripted, and the open worldness of choice is often just an illusion that ends the exact same way for all players. The story is a prequel of sorts where we step into the shoes of James Bond, a Navy air crewman who, after getting ambushed in Iceland during a retrieval operation, gets a chance at working for MI6, England's secret intelligence agency.
1, 2.
Through months of training, which we'll actually get to see in a very interesting and interactive way, Bond and several other recruits are tested to their limit, all hoping to achieve 00 status. But when their field mission in Slovakia goes sideways, James must prove he's the right man for the job, while also uncovering a nefarious plot that could very well destroy the entire world. Right out of the gate, First Light's presentation is absolutely amazing. The cinematics look gorgeous, the voice acting is absolutely superb, and the game is wise in not turning the entire experience into a mundane shooter. Instead, the game relies heavily on stealth and spy tactics to get from point A to point B. Heavily modeled around IO Interactive's Hitman series, you can tell that they were very careful in towing that line. That decision might drive a few gamers away, and as I mentioned earlier, I too often felt like the game was just preventing me from doing what I wanted. And sorry to say, but the enemy AI is particularly stupid and can be easily exploited. And even more so with the bluffing mechanic and the Q gadgets. Look at this bozo, he's looking right at me. Normal difficulty might not be the right way to play this game. You can hear coughing to my right, they should be alerted. The AI is way too lenient. Situation contained. That bluffing mechanic in particular, though, is really cool the first time it's used, as it feels very true to the character.
Sir, where did you come from?
I'm a penetration tester with Rhinestone Insurance, and I just discovered 3 direct violations. I need a word with your manager, now.
Yes. Of course.
Good lad.
But the illusion totally breaks when you bluff your way out of trouble, and then you continue to act like a little pest around the enemy AI without any true sort of consequence. So I gotta get past this guard behind the velvet rope.
I was king of the world at 7X.
Of course, that guy didn't see anything.
Checking now.
And she's holding a key that I need to get inside the 205 suite. How did he not see that? I did that right under his nose.
Much appreciated.
The same can be said with the vehicle chases that happen half a dozen times in the game. They make for some really great set pieces until you take a step back and realize that they're all kind of the same. You're just driving a car, truck, or boat from point A to point B without any real risk of failure. I don't know, maybe I'm being a bit too harsh, maybe I should have played the game on its hardest difficulty. That may have very well given me the true 007 experience, but instead I played it on normal difficulty, which, as the developers clearly state, is the intended way to play the game. There are also a few unpolished aspects of the game. Enemies can often get stuck within the environment, as seen here. Bro definitely didn't want to miss leg day. Hey bro, you gotta pull that door, not push it. Here, let me help. And some cinematics sometimes have questionable design choices. Like, why are there black moths flying around in the background in this scene, like as if there's some sort of dead body hiding in the bushes? Or she doesn't smell very good. Also, take a look at these vodka martinis. Why are the olives not submerged inside the drink? Look, I don't want to be overly negative here, especially with the little nitpicking. These are all obviously just tiny details. I did really enjoy the game, and it did leave me wanting more, but I really think that's because the characters themselves were so interesting. As a die-hard 007 fan and someone who's watched all the films way more than once, I really enjoyed this take on the character. Seeing James Bond earn his 00 status is something we never really get to see in the films, with the exception of 2006's Casino Royale, where we get a very brief look at it in that film's introduction. So yeah, taking the series back to its roots is very refreshing, and it's the perfect way to set the scene for future games. There's no doubt that this franchise is definitely off to a great start.
I don't know if I should be angry or flattered.
The game's trophy list is, unfortunately, nothing special, and it's incredibly easy. Maybe even a bit too easy, which is probably intentional. Simply playing through the game once will net you the majority of the trophies, with a few combat-related ones that can be easily mopped up when going through the tactical simulation exercises, just in case you missed them during your playthrough. The tactical simulation-related trophy only requires you to get to XP level 3, which is the equivalent to about 1 hour of game time. It's a total joke. There's also 92 collectibles to find sprinkled throughout the campaign, but with chapter select and checkpoint select, it makes it even easier to pick up anything you may have missed very quickly. There's also quite a few references from the James Bond films found in the game. There's also plenty of Hitman-related Easter eggs. The trophy names themselves are all obvious references to the film's titles, but there's also some gameplay elements that closely resemble scenes from the numerous films, such as the bomb stopping with 7 seconds to spare, much like we see in Goldfinger, jumping out of the plane with no parachute, as seen in the beginning of Moonraker, definitely one of my favorite openings from a James Bond film. The Aston Martin 360 machine gun maneuver from No Time to Die, although I may have taken some liberties to recreate it there. Even some of the collectibles you find reference some of the films, such as the GoldenEye key, the Lover's Tarot card from Live and Let Die, or even a playbill with none other than Kara, the cellist from The Living Daylights. I really appreciated those little touches. Again, there are many references found within the game. I highly recommend you seek out a few videos on YouTube if you want a full list. It's totally worth it. What? Oh, right, I forgot. This thing. The most annoying thing about the game is this server functionality. When you first boot up, it clearly says that the optimal way to play the game is by connecting yourself online at all times. Okay, fine. But then why is the connection always dropping whenever I play? At first, I just ignored it, but it became increasingly difficult to not pay attention when I'd be in the middle of a firefight or when I was having a round of fisticuffs with a few enemies. And it's really annoying, the game just freezes? What the fuck is the point of this? The game says it's just to earn some cosmetic bonuses, or to compete on the leaderboards, but I just don't think it's worth it. Again? Furthermore, some collectible trophies can be delayed when popping due to these server issues, so it's probably best to just play offline for now. I'm sure they'll patch it, but right now, kind of annoying. All in all, despite a few frustrations with the game, I do think IO Interactive did a superb job here. It makes me very optimistic for the future of this franchise. But now that the license rights have gone back to Amazon, let's just hope they don't do anything stupid with it.
Some kind of
What could it be? A burglar? A cat? A crazy axe murderer?